First, we are in a position in universities, I think, to work with all of those elements that are connected to the community. That is, to get off the campus, which is always a great thing to do. We have some educational resources and some capacities and powers that can actually contribute to the Occupy Wall Street movement. It's very important to try and get people from the community, people from the city, to join with you in here. The university administrations get very nervous, and frankly, I always like to make university administrations nervous. And I had a dean at Johns Hopkins who said, you know, we can't give you any money for graduate students because you don't earn any money. And I said, oh, well, am I supposed to have an Institute of Marxist Studies funded by General Motors? And he said, yes, that's a good idea. I support you to do that. I mean, this is the kind of ridiculous stuff that goes on inside of universities these days. The fact is, universities have been dominated by money power over the last 30 years, but they've become, in a sense, a place where it's about the neoliberal ethic and corporatist managerial tactics. Managing labour and managing resources and all the rest of it, but in whose interest? And it's very interesting again, there are many institutes inside of universities that are actually engaging in talking about anti-poverty programs. And I keep on saying to them, you're in the wrong program, you should be in the anti-wealth program. But I don't see any anti-wealth programs on these campuses. The 1% dominates the Board of Trustees, the 1% dominates the media, it dominates many of the institutions. It's even got to the point now where it's actually funding certain departments which are strictly under its own domination. Grants go to major universities provided they teach Hayek and Friedman and all the rest of it. It's actually corrupting the free flow of knowledge and the free creation of knowledge, and that's something that we inside the university have to try to take care of. One of the things that I've found over the years is that actually keeping spaces open inside of the university where free and different things can happen is actually a full-time business, because the pressures are very strong. Even though this is a private university, there's a public obligation. And I think that public obligation is something which has been missing. And along with that, of course, goes the other issue which is not mentioned here, but which I think does deserve a mention, which is the whole kind of question of student indebtedness. When students are caught in debt peonage for much of their life, then what does this do to their political options? What kind of business of increasing indebtedness of the student body is something that has to be reversed. And what we see in CUNY and what we've seen in California is, of course, increasing tuitions, which mean rising debt. Now notice what's happening here. The banks got into difficulty, and then the state bailed them out, and then the state got into difficulty, and what does it do? It privatizes the debt by raising tuitions. And I think that decent society in any kind of part of the world would have free educational opportunity for everybody. So there are things in our own particular backyard that we have a lot of things to do about. And what I want to do here is just simply say to you that it's fantastic that you're doing this, and it's very important that you keep it going. And we've got to stick with it and build it steadily, and build allies within the community at large. I think actually one of the things that surprised everybody was the public reaction to the Occupy Wall Street, which was not the negative one at all. It said, well, these people are talking about something that makes sense. And then, of course, there's this immense attempt to discredit you. You know, you're not very hygienic, are you? Therefore, we need to clean you out. You know, and by the way, you border on criminality and do peculiar things, and you have rings through your nose or something like that, you know, all that sort of stuff. So there's this incredible kind of attempt to discredit you. And I think that it's terribly important, therefore, that we not be divided and do not be diverted. And those two things are crucial, and we should really be about trying to sustain this movement for the long run, and to start to think about it as a movement that is really going to change the level of social inequality in this country. So terrific that you're doing this, and good luck with what you're doing. So thanks a lot.
Mike check!
Mike check!
Whenever the president gets back from New York,
Whenever the president gets back from New
go
York,
to her office and Mike check her!
go to her office and Mike check her!
Woo.
Our faculty and students have been arrested last night at Dilworth Plaza. All these issues have to be discussed.
On that note, there's going to be
Meet here at every other Occupy Penn. Do so today.
But I'm not introduced.
People's opinions.
To challenge people's opinions
In everyday life.
in everyday life.
Another student denied.
Another student denied.
The other students formerly being held prisoner.
We would like to
A
make
concerted outreach effort.
a concerted effort. Earlier last night,
Prior to Occupy Philly being evicted, who had been unjustly